The middle of all of that, you might hear a lot of reference to the CHAZ or Chaz, referring to the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. It'll come up a lot, but these individual citizens has essentially taken over that area, peacefully or not. It is a concern for some security authorities, the police, who wonder that if things were to really get hairy, then what do you do? Mike Solon is a Seattle police officer, joins us right now, the guild president there. Officer, always good to have you. What do you make of this right now, and how long it could go on if it's peaceful and nothing much occurs? You just heard our reporter on the scene. This could drag for a while. What do you think?
Hey, Neil, thanks for having me on. Well, this is very concerning, and I think it should have everybody across the country deeply concerned, because this could metastasize across the country. It's quite clear that City of Seattle elected officials are lacking the political will to enforce the rule of law. And this is the closest I've seen since being a 20-year professional of public safety service of our country to becoming a lawless state. And when you have 6, now 7 blocks of a City of Seattle-owned geography now being occupied by, some say, are still armed people, especially at night, where do we go from here? And what happens to the reasonable community in Seattle, in particular the business owners that surround that area or the residents? And we're already seeing reports come out of those residents saying they're not even allowed to have a vote or a say, and they're feeling threatened. So this is a very deeply troubling situation in terms of public safety, as we're already seeing signs that it's occurring down in Portland, Oregon, and we've heard things happening in Nashville. And my sources are telling me that the federal government is extremely interested in this, and it's quite clear that the people that have taken and basically stolen the George Floyd protest message are now using it to benefit themselves and holding the rest of the reasonable citizens of Seattle hostage. It's absolutely unacceptable.
You know, you were right to point out these festering movements in Nashville, Portland, Oregon, and other cities as well, Mike, that have been saying much the same. What they're doing there, we'd like to try here. And it occurs at a time that, at least in the Seattle area, the mayor is saying one thing, the police chief quite the opposite. We already know that Carmen Best, the police chief, has been concerned. She defied the mayor's orders the other night when the protests were really getting bad before this sort of lockdown situation, that she went ahead and used tear gas to break up what was potentially a violent scene. Now a judge has intervened to say, don't do that again, hold off on that sort of thing. So it sort of ties her hands, and yours as well, right?
Oh, you just said it well, it ties our hands. So just imagine if the city and the elected officials are willing to surrender a police facility, what's next with these criminal agitators, these unreasonable activists that march on another precinct, in particular, the Seattle Police Department flagship precinct, the West Precinct? That precinct houses 911 communications citywide. Neil, if we lose the West Precinct due to the lack of political willpower by our elected leaders, imagine, how do the reasonable citizens in Seattle expect to get police services when they call 911 for help? This is going to spread, and if we don't get someone to step in to lead and make decisions here for the good of everybody, the reasonable majority of Seattle citizens that support public safety, we're in dire trouble here.
We'll watch it very closely. Mike Sloan, thank you very much, and for your service and everything you're doing and trying to keep the peace there. Mike is the Seattle Police Officers Guild president. We'll be monitoring that very, very closely, because